In the beginning, there was only the Almighty, Allah, the creator of the heavens and the earth. His will was supreme, His wisdom boundless. From the depths of His knowledge, He created Adam, the first man, and bestowed upon him the gift of life. Adam was formed from clay, and with a single breath from Allah, he was brought to life. His eyes opened to a world that was yet untouched by time, a world where the trees whispered His name and the skies held the secrets of the universe. As Adam stood in the Garden of Eden, Allah spoke to him directly, teaching him the names of all things, granting him knowledge beyond imagination. He was to be the first of many prophets, the first to carry the light of divine guidance to humanity. However, the challenge was great. Iblis, the devil, rebelled against Allah's command to bow to Adam, driven by pride and arrogance. In his defiance, Iblis was cast out, but not before vowing to lead humanity astray. With Adam came the first lessons for mankind: obedience to Allah, the importance of knowledge, and the dangers of arrogance. As the years passed, Adam's descendants flourished, and with them came the need for guidance. Allah sent prophets to remind them of His presence, to guide them on the straight path, and to warn them of the consequences of straying from the truth. Generations passed and the world grew darker, consumed by sin and disobedience. People turned away from Allah, following their desires and abandoning the worship of the one true God. Among these people, Allah raised a prophet, Noah, a man of steadfast faith and unwavering conviction. Noah preached to his people for centuries, calling them to repentance, to return to the worship of Allah, but his message was met with scorn, mockery, and rejection. Despite the ridicule, Noah never wavered. He built the ark, guided by divine instruction, as the waters began to rise. The flood came as a punishment for the wickedness that had consumed the earth. But for those who believed in Noah, the ark became a vessel of salvation. As the waters receded, Noah's followers began anew, their hearts full of hope and gratitude. But the trials were not over. Noah's own son, though aboard the ark, had turned away from his father's guidance, and in his disobedience, he was lost. The pain of losing a loved one to disbelief was a heavy burden, but Noah's faith in Allah remained unshaken. The story of Abraham is one of unparalleled devotion and sacrifice. Born into a society steeped in idolatry, Ibrahim could not ignore the injustice and falsehoods around him. From a young age, he questioned the idols his people worshipped, and it was through a series of miraculous events that he came to know Allah, the one true God. Ibrahim's unwavering faith was tested in unimaginable ways. When Allah commanded him to leave his family and home to travel to distant lands, Ibrahim obeyed without question. His devotion to Allah deepened, and his legacy grew, for it was through Ibrahim that the foundations of monotheism were solidified. But perhaps the greatest test came when Allah asked Ibrahim to sacrifice his beloved son, Ismail, as a symbol of his devotion. Ibrahim's heart broke at the thought, but he did not hesitate. He was ready to sacrifice his son, for he knew that obedience to Allah was greater than any worldly bond. Allah, in His mercy, intervened at the last moment, sparing Ismail and providing a ram as a substitute. This act of profound sacrifice would remain a cornerstone of faith, commemorated by Muslims during the annual celebration of Eid al-Adha. The story of Musa, Moses, is one of courage, strength, and divine intervention. Born into a time of great oppression, when the Israelites were enslaved by the tyrant Pharaoh, Musa's early life was one of danger and uncertainty. As an infant, he was cast adrift on the river Nile, only to be found by Pharaoh's wife, who took him in as her own. As Musa grew, he became a man of justice, deeply troubled by the suffering of his people. When he witnessed an Egyptian beating an Israelite, he intervened, killing the man in an act of self-defense. Fleeing into the desert, Musa found refuge with a kind family, and it was there, in the solitude of the wilderness, that Allah spoke to him from the burning bush, commissioning him to return to Egypt and demand the release of the Israelites. Musa's mission was fraught with peril, as Pharaoh stubbornly refused to heed the call of the one true God. Through a series of miraculous signs, Allah demonstrated His power, but Pharaoh's heart remained hardened. The plagues came, devastating Egypt, until the final act of salvation, the parting of the Red Sea, where Musa led his people to freedom, while Pharaoh and his army were drowned. Musa was not only a liberator, but also a lawgiver. Allah gave him the Torah, a divine set of laws to guide his people. Despite the challenges, Musa's commitment to Allah and His commands was unwavering. Many generations passed, and the world grew distant from the guidance of the prophets. Then, in the desert city of Mecca, a child was born, a child who would change the course of history. Muhammad PBUH was born an orphan, his father dying before his birth and his mother passing away when he was still a child. Yet, even from the beginning, there were signs of his greatness. Amina, his mother, saw miraculous visions during her pregnancy, and those around her marveled at the strange and wondrous occurrences. The angels whispered of his greatness, and it was said that the world itself seemed to await the arrival of this child. As Muhammad PBUH grew, he became known for his honesty, wisdom, and compassion. His journey was filled with trials, from the loss of his parents to the fierce opposition of the Quraysh tribe who rejected his message. But despite the challenges, Muhammad PBUH was steadfast. His heart remained pure, and his faith in Allah was unwavering. As the years passed, the message of Islam spread. The revelations from Allah delivered through the angel Gabriel, began in the cave of Hira, marking the beginning of a new era. Muhammad PBUH preached the message of unity, peace, and submission to the one true God, calling people to abandon their idols and return to the worship of Allah. The challenges Muhammad PBUH faced were immense. From the hostile opposition in Mecca to the migration to Medina, where he and his followers sought refuge, his life was filled with hardship. But Allah's support was always with him, and through his leadership, Islam flourished. The Battle of Badr, the Treaty of Hudaybiyah, and the eventual conquest of Mecca were key moments in his journey. Through these events, Muhammad PBUH demonstrated the power of patience, wisdom, and forgiveness. He forgave those who had wronged him, showing the world the strength of his character and the depth of his faith. The legacy of the prophets, from Adam to Muhammad PBUH, is one of unity, perseverance, and unwavering belief in the one true God. Their stories, filled with trials, sacrifices, and divine intervention, remind us that faith in Allah is the greatest strength, and that the path to righteousness is fraught with challenges. But with divine guidance, victory is certain. The legacy of the prophets is not confined to the past. It lives on in every believer who follows the guidance of Allah, who upholds the truth, and who remains steadfast in the face of adversity. The message of the prophets, from Adam to Muhammad PBUH, is a timeless call to unity, faith, and righteousness. Their stories, filled with divine wisdom, continue to inspire and guide those who seek the path of truth. And so the legacy endures, from the first breath of Adam to the final message of Muhammad PBUH, shaping the hearts of millions and guiding them to the straight path.